So right now, we're going to start this meeting with our initial prayer. We're going to thank the good spirits that are here with us in this section. We're going to ask them to kindly help us to understand Jesus' teachings, to become better human beings, to work in our progress, to be able to help ourselves and help the ones around us. I ask permission to our spiritual friends to start today's meeting, and so be it. So today we're going to start chapter 26. Mark, I want to make sure you can hear me.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for joining us. So today we're going to start chapter 26. Chapter 26, it's a very nice and easy chapter. I like the teachings on this chapter. It's talking about the title of the chapter is "Give It for Free What Has Been Received Gratuitously." Today we're going to speak about the gift of healing. So Jesus' recommendations, we're going to start with Jesus' recommendation to the apostles. Heal those who were sick, resurrect the dead, expel the bad spirits, give it for free what has been received. That word always gets me, gratuitously. This was the recommendations from Jesus to the apostles as they were going out and spreading the good news, spreading the word. These recommendations were basically for them to be humble, to give out all the gifts that they have received from God for free, even though we're talking about people, the apostles back then, very poor, but Jesus' prime recommendation was that none of the goodwills or none of the, let's say, the miracles, they should not charge for them. And Jesus did not just speak. Jesus gave the example. And this is what we're going to go through in this chapter. Most of the speeches of Jesus we're going to represent here with the examples that he gave it to us. So again, the example of Christ, Jesus not just teach, but he exemplified all his teachings. So we're going to see some passages here. We're going to start with what does he mean when he says, heal those who were sick. So here's the story about the woman who had the issue of blood. And this is on the Bible, but we are getting this story also from the book, The Genesis, from Allan Kardec on chapter 15. So I'm going to go through the slides and then we're going to talk a little bit about this. So a woman who for 12 years suffered of bleeding heard of Jesus, came with the crowd behind him and touched his cloak. In the same instant, the blood flow stopped. She felt that her body was cured. So I read, for those who read about this story, there was a big crowd, once everybody was finding out who Jesus was. Of course, everywhere he goes, there was a big crowd always around him. But this specific passage talks about he actually turned around and he asked, who touched me? And as we can imagine, everybody was like, Jesus, a lot of people have touched you. There is a lot of people here in this crowd. But he was talking about a specific woman, and she actually stood up and says that she was the one that touched him, and she felt that her body was cured. So she felt that she was the one that he was talking about. And what Jesus told her is, go in peace and be healed. Your faith saved you. So even though, again, there was, a big crowd, but she was the one that was in desperately need of that healing. And she had the faith, which is the most important. So this is a very nice passage for those who wants to read. Again, we have it in the Genesis, and that's also in the Bible. Then another story here, the resurrection of Jairus' daughter. Also, we are getting this from the book, the Genesis, in chapter 15. So one of the synagogue rulers, sorry, there was supposed to be a space here. One of the synagogue rulers called Jairus to meet Jesus. One of the synagogue rulers called Jairus came to meet Jesus. He begged Jesus to save the life of his 12-year-old daughter that was dying. So here we're going to give an example what he meant with the resurrect of the dead. So arriving at Jairus' daughter, Jesus took the daughter's hand and said to her, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." And immediately the little girl got up and walked around. So again, this is a beautiful story that Jesus, when Jairo came in to ask Jesus to go to kill his daughter, a lot of people that knew Jairus back came to him and said, "Are you crazy? Your daughter's already dead." And even though everybody was saying there's nothing else that can be done for her, he had the faith to go ask Jesus for help. When he got there when Jesus got to the house, there was a lot of ladies crying outside of the house because the little girl has died. And Jesus went in and he did the resurrection of the dead. So he resurrected the little girl. Another beautiful story, another beautiful example of Jesus healing, and especially in this chapter where we talked about the gift that you should give out for free. Another story is they healed the leprosy, 10 healed of leprosy, again from the same book, the Genesis chapter 15. 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood a distance and called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." When he saw them, he said, "Go show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were cleansed. But only one of them, a Samaritan, came to thank Jesus. So when this Samaritan came back to thank Jesus, Jesus asked him, "But there were 10 of you. Why are you the only one coming back?" So Jesus knew that all 10 of them were healed, right? And this, we're also talking about grateful, about maybe not all of them had the real faith, or they did have the real faith at the time that they asked for help, but afterwards they forgot about where the grace came from. There's only one of them came back to thank him. Even though only one of them came back, and Jesus probably knew that only one of them were going to come back, or 10 were healed. Another story is expel the evil spirits, the speechless possessed. Again, a story about a man who was possessed and could not talk was brought to Jesus. Jesus expelled the evil spirits, and the man spoke. The crowd was amazed and said, "Nothing like this has ever been seen in Israel." So the resume of all of this is, give it for free what has been received gratuitously. With this recommendation, Jesus praises that nobody can charge for something that you did not pay for it. We're going to go a little bit more details on this as well. Don't turn your gift into an object of commercialization, neither speculation, nor a means of livelihood. And the gift received, heal the sick, expel the bad spirits. The purpose of those gifts is relieve those who suffer. And that is actually the best reward that somebody that has a true heart and somebody that is doing the healing and somebody that has the gift of healing that is given to someone else. I think the best reward is the relief of those who suffer, for sure. And the spread of faith, because for those people to receive the grace, for those people to receive the grace of the cure, they have to have the faith as well. Remember the story about the lady that touched Jesus. There was a lot of people then, but she was the one that had the most faith. The faith, it's very important for us to be able to receive and to be able to ask as well, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to ask. But if we have the faith, anything is possible. And here, it's talking about the difference on when can you charge. The doctor provide the fruit of its studies made at the cost of his sacrifice, of course, up to a certain level of what is reasonable, right? But the doctor has the right to charge. The doctor went to school. The doctor, spent money studying. So, of course, he's gonna charge for whatever cure whatever he does in life, because he has the right for that. The difference on the healing medium transmits the healthy fluid of good spirits, not having the right to sell it. Where are the fluids coming for? Of course, there is an exchange from the medium as well, from the incarnated person, but the energy is coming from the spirit. So we have no right to charge for anything that we have not paid for it. We don't have the right to charge for anything that we are just being an instrument from the spirits in this earth. Jesus and the apostles, they didn't charge anything for the cures, even being poor. Jesus was against any kind of charging. So definitely not acceptable to charge for anything at all. If not even using the excuse of needing money to survive or for food. Great example, it's Jesus and the apostles. So what is the order of Christ to all of us? Exercise, use the gifts received, but for free, never to charge. I'm gonna go here to the reflections page, and just to give a personal experience. Before I started to study the Spiritism, and before I went into a little bit more deeper into the doctrine, I was actually one that I agree that somebody needed to charge, a medium needed to charge, because they needed to provide their bread in their table. So I was under the impression, but after studying and then coming into these teachings that says you cannot charge for something that you have not paid for, then seeing the example of our greatest Chico Xavier in Brazil, that for his whole life, he dedicated his life to the Spiritism. He dedicated his life to help the poor, to help the ones in need. And he never charged a dime for it. He actually worked his whole life, even though when he was older and sick, he still went to work every day to be able to provide to himself, so he could dedicate his time to the Spiritism and not charge anything. So my experience, my personal experience is, we all have different opinions, but I believe that if we at least think about this if we take anything out of this, is you cannot charge for something that you have not paid for. It's a gift, so it should be given out as a gift to others as well. So that's the end of the slide. Mark, would you like to add anything else, or we will go ahead and do the final prayer then? Okay, so I'm gonna.
Sorry, I have nothing to add.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the final prayer. Okay. So at this time, we're gonna go ahead and close our eyes, elevate our thoughts. We're gonna imagine a very bright light over our heads. This bright light that is around us, around the home that we're in, around our neighborhood. This bright light that is taking all the spirits in need around us to the rescue. This bright light that is so beautiful and so bright that can be seen from very far away. That the spirits that are around that need help, they can go look for the so needed comfort. We thank the good spirits that are always with us through our day, guiding us, helping us make the right decisions, helping us to get up every time we fall. Help us to understand the obstacles that are into our life, those obstacles that we need to work on them for our progress. So all the spirituality that works every day without a rest in our beautiful city of Las Vegas and in all parts of the world, that they can find in us the workers for their work to be done here on earth. That we find ourselves always ready, so when we disincarnate, we can show our full hands to our brother Jesus. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you tonight, and so be it.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you so much, Mark. Let me just